This is New Amsterdam Season 5, Episode 12, aka Part 1 of the series finale, titled Right Place. And I gotta say, honestly, it was actually a pretty decent episode. Let's talk about it.
Live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings, I'm a big fight.
Like I said, this was part 1 of the series finale, and it was honestly a pretty decent episode. Kind of hit the same roots of the original New Amsterdam for me, but there were some moments, yet again, that I did not like, and there was some that I really did enjoy. And let's start off with the ones I enjoyed first. That would happen to be Bloom. I really enjoyed Bloom this episode, and we see that season 5, although it has been a little bit rushed in my opinion, it handled Bloom in this episode kind of perfectly for me, because we know with losing her mom and cutting her sister out of her life, she's kind of lifted a weight off her shoulders. She's kind of opened up to herself a little bit more, and we kind of see her owning herself, and I think that's a good thing for Bloom. And we know how toxic it was with Layla, so she's put all that stuff in the past. Her mom's gone, she cut off her sister, so Bloom is on the right track for herself, and we see that this episode with her trying to find an apartment. But at the same time, she's still a doctor, so she used the ambulance to try to find the apartment and try to cut through traffic and get there on time. But for some reason, she just couldn't never get there because there was a bunch of cases every time you turned around. So, but her still being a doctor, she had to help these people. She couldn't just ignore the calls. And I think that was something that it turned out to be a good overall, because she didn't need that place because it was all fixed up, and that was stuff that she was used to. But she found a place at the ending of the episode that was a fixer-upper, and she can change and do anything to it the way that she wanted to change it to. You know what I'm saying? She can paint the walls a certain color, she can change the fixtures and do all that other stuff. And the layout seemed pretty nice. That she had a nice open room with a view, I want to say, of the river over there. Looked kind of like, I couldn't really quite tell. Then she had like a upstairs part, like a little loft part. So it was a nice apartment, or whatever you want to call it, loft area. But it was nice, and I feel like that's something that she can work on, and it'll be actually hers. You know what I'm saying? She can design it the way that she actually wants to. And seeing her and Casey together is always a plus, man. I love Bloom and Casey. I love their friendship. It never needs to be anything more, because I love their friendship. Another part I really enjoyed is Reynolds this episode. We see him and Gabrielle, they're doing the whole thing, but she's still gonna leave because, like she said, who could turn down $20,000 bonuses? You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody doing that. So I'll be with her, hey, let's make you leave and go get this check, and then I'll come back, you know what I'm saying? But it's nice to see that her and Reynolds are working things out, but she still is going to leave. Now, we see that she wanted Reynolds to give her a nice reference, and we see him get the call, but we never actually see him go back into the call, and that's fine. All that can happen off camera. I'm totally fine with that, because we see that it happened at the end, and he kind of laid into it kind of heavily, and he kind of told the people, kind of realized that, well, man, he has given her a glowing recommendation. It's like he loved this chick. And he kind of admitted that right there at the ending of the episode. But he really couldn't quite focus on that in the beginning, because we see he's having a crisis with a patient, because a patient went and bought a lung in Honduras from somebody that desperately needed money. And he bought the lung because, he was afraid of dying, because he wasn't getting his lung. He kept getting bumped on the transplant list. And that's very valid. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times people kind of look down on people and frown upon them because of their selfish needs. But at the end of the day, if you're on the verge of dying and there's something you can actually do, people are, ain't nobody just like, well, I guess it's my time to die. Nobody's wanting that. You know what I'm saying? If there's something you could actually do, people are going to try to fight for it. And that's what that dude done this episode. But the sad thing is, his body was rejecting the lung, and the kid really needed the money. So nobody forced him into it. He done it because he owed debts and he needed the money. But at the ending of the episode, we see Reynolds kind of talked him into coming to New York and, getting help with it, and actually giving him his lung back, because they couldn't transplant it to anybody else anyway, because it was done illegally. And, with the registry and stuff like that, there's no way they can give that lung to anybody. It was still a perfectly good lung, so just give it back to the original owner, so that way the lung doesn't go to waste. Now, I feel like that was a whole overall theme this episode, because we have this whole case with Max and Wilder, them talking about this whole new cure for a particular type of cancer anyway. And long story short, we see that, like, there were no extra parameters. There was only a set group of parameters for men, white males anyway, from ages 35 to 65, and Sharp set it up. Now, we knew going into that when they mentioned it, like, well, who could possibly do this from the oncology department? It was a given. It was Sharp from the jump. Now, the only thing is, like I said, it kind of relates to Reynolds' overall case anyway about being selfish or whatever that for, you know, your life or someone you love. And we see that Max and Wilder are having this discussion about, well, how could she do that? It's so unethical, you know what I'm saying? But she done it because she loved Max. She cared for Max. And we knew that, and that's why the whole Sharp thing was wonderful, and we all loved that. And see, this, right here in this moment, this why nobody ain't fooling with Wilder and Max, man. Like, NBC and New Amsterdam are just trying so heavily to force them together. But if you won't go out of your way to save someone you love, what will you do for them? I mean, honestly, now, sure, going out and you know, murdering somebody or something for somebody you love, that is taking things to the next level and robbing banks and stuff. But I get it if it's for someone you love. I ain't saying it's right, but I'd understand it. And Sharp doing that for Max because she loved him, because she cared for him, and then Wilder saying, well, you know, I would never do that for you, Max. That's unethical. And I feel like Max would have done it to a certain extent anyway, but he also went along and said it because of Wilder, because she said it. You know what I'm saying? Now, I know Max is very ethical. He keeps his things above board, and I'm totally fine with that. But I feel like he said that because she said it. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that kind of put a rift in their relationship, because at the ending of the episode, they tried to, you know, relay that to each other. It was like, well, you know, we've been having so much fun, and maybe this isn't going to work out because, you know, I would never do that for you, Max. She reiterated that she would never do that for him. And Max was like, well, you know what's better than something fun is us being real with each other and having a real relationship. And I feel like that is just definitely going downhill for me, man. But nobody never really liked it anyway. Like I said, I like Wilder, but I never liked them together. And this episode really solidified that for me, man. Right there in that moment when she told him she would never do that. I'm not saying run around and break laws for somebody or the people that you love, but I'm saying just having the idea of it, it means more to me. And Sharp doing that. Now, she didn't break any laws or do anything unethical about it, in my opinion, because technically the drug company should have been like, okay, well, you know, this ain't right. Now we're gonna extend the parameters, maybe just a little bit. We're gonna tweak it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But Sharp done it to help Max in that moment, in that time of need, because no other treatments were working. But I don't get it, man. You know, then they're saying, I'm not saying that you need to go out here and murder people, and I keep reiterating that, but it just giving me the thought and the idea of you going that extra mile for me, whether you're breaking the law or not. You know what I'm saying? You just giving me the idea of you're going that extra mile would mean a lot more than to say, well, you know, I can't do it, man, because it's not the right thing to do. I love you and I don't want you to die, but, you know, you dying versus me being unethical, hey, I guess you gotta die today. What the? Nah, man, that ain't right. But anyway, that's a whole other thing, and I feel like that's why none of us are messing with Wilder and Max. You know, just putting that out there. Iggy, this episode, is trying to step up for this woman that he found on the street. He happens to know, he met her a couple times, and it's not a bad thing that he wants to do and kind of put her into like a conservatorship or whatnot. But we know how a conservatorship can kind of go both ways. Now, there are good aspects to it for certain people that actually need it if their life is actually in danger or whatnot, you know, from them harming themselves. And then, you know, we have the whole headline with Britney and all this other type stuff. You know, that's what, to be fair, that's what we learned from about a conservatorship. If you haven't really known about a conservatorship, that was our go-to information about that. You know what I'm saying? And that lady, she is actually slowly killing herself. But like, you know, her rep or whatever that was there for her in the trial or whatnot, like he told Iggy at the ending of the episode, it's free will, and you know, it's freedom. That's her right to choose if she doesn't want to do this. You can't help someone that doesn't want help. She mentioned that she wants help, but she's not willing to go that extra mile to get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're in a situation where you're constantly doing drugs and you're afraid that you're going to do drugs and be all, you might need to find a different way to do it. You know what I'm saying? You might need to mention that you need help and somebody can get you some help and you can get off the streets and go to rehab or do something or stay with somebody that's going to help you so you won't do the drugs. You know what I'm saying? Like, people that need the help in very dire situations, they have to admit that they want help. And that lady, she wanted help until she had to realize that, you know, she had to go that extra mile to get it. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just going to be on the surface. She had to dig a whole lot deeper to get that help. And she didn't want to do that. But we also see Iggy and Martin kind of going back and forth, and Iggy's with this whole idea of starting fresh, starting new, acting like they don't know each other, trying to find out more about them, or Martin anyway. And Martin's a little skeptical because he doesn't want to put the kids through this, and he doesn't want to get hurt again. And that whole situation, I honestly, it's 50-50 for me, man. Whether they get together or they don't, at this point, I'm cool if they do, and I'm cool if they don't with Iggy and Martin, man, because honestly, Iggy doesn't know what he wants. Martin isn't quite sure as well. So, I mean, and you know, a relationship is tough, but as of right now, it's 50-50 for me. So they can get together or don't. I'm cheering if they do, and if they don't, well, that sucks for them, you know. But overall, it was a nice episode, and wholeheartedly for me, it kind of felt like it was going back to the original style of New Amsterdam. So let's go dive into episode 13 and see what's popping up. This is your boy, Incredible. Don't forget to smash the like button so you can smash any more. Comment down below, and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them, and subscribe. Peace out.
I cannot complain because today, I'm doing my